I'm Ryan Walters, that other podcast host that you hate the most, and you're listening to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix.
It is Saturday, December 16th, 2023, 8:04 a.m. sharp, just a couple minutes behind because Walters is currently lost. Maybe he has fallen into Narnia. But hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of the hosts, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by our other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Hi, folks. I'm going to try and sound as pitter-pattery as both of you and Walters.
As Sudsy McSuds are in. We appreciate people that chat along with us in the Discord. Mika was in there. Walters is in there. Al's in there. We appreciate everyone for chatting. Segment start times down in the description below. And we thank at Levi Oki Illustration for all the beautiful art you can see on Spotify and YouTube and iTunes and Google Podcasts and all the places. Josh, how ye dern?
I dern. How you dern?
You know, Josh, I don't know. You tell me how raw should we be this morning?
Oh no. As raw as you'd like, I guess. I don't care.
Well, that's not. I mean, it's not just me. It's what the listener may or may not want to hear. But we have in the bread update. Things have taken a negative turn, unfortunately. So it doesn't bring me any joy to say that, but yeah, I don't know. Something was, and it's totally what's wrong with me, and not something that would be wrong with her. I can't say for sure, but it's not. It wasn't complete like anhedonia or depression or something. I can't say for sure what it was, but something was hampering my joy, my excitement, my whatever else. Something was holding back the happiness I should have been feeling because Bread is genuinely a great person. But I don't know. I don't know that I genuinely can say much more than that right now because it's still very fresh. But something's wrong with me, and luckily I'm already in therapy and I can try and figure that out. But unfortunately, I don't know that I will be hearing from Bread again, which makes sense. But something's wrong with me, and that's unfortunate. But Bread is a lovely person, and it makes me sad at the same time. So that's my update, Josh. Isn't that depressing?
Why'd you bring that up?
I know. What about you, Josh? What have you done between Tuesday and today? Anything cool? Anything exciting? Anything more positive to bring the mood up?
Let's see here. Maybe. Well, it depends on your definition of good. 1 second here. I'm just going to try and figure it out. So, yeah, I don't know. I've been playing a lot of chess lately.
Have you actually?
Yeah, because like there's a chess.com app on the phone, and it just kind of helps. It helps me utilize my pea brain. It kind of helps it grow, so it's lima bean now.
Proud of you.
And so it's been great. In the last 7 days, I have played 86 games of chess on my phone.
Jesus.
Yep, and if we were to go back 30 days, 591 games. I'm doing okay. I've got a more than 50% win, so that's all right. And so that's kind of my update. So not necessarily the most exciting thing in the world, but it is an update nonetheless.
It's certainly not depressing, I can tell you that. Unless someone really hates chess, I guess, in which case they really didn't want to hear that.
Is it not depressing?
I mean, it sounds like you genuinely enjoy playing chess, it sounds like.
Well,
or do you do it out of hate?
I do it as punishment.
Why are you let's unpack that, Josh. Why are you punishing yourself?
Have you seen me?
You know what? You got me. Okay. I was trying to think of some fun things I did between Tuesday and now, and I don't know. Yeah. Are you ready to move on, Josh, to some starts and some sits? Playoffs are here, buddy, old pal.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where it gets groovy. So last week, you went 1 out of 5. Walters and I went 2 out of 5. I don't know which is more disgusting, tying with Walters or only having one right. Difference, you had a positive 9.7, so that's a positive. I had a positive 32.5, and Walters had a positive 24.15. Overall on the year, you are 24-65 with a negative 39.05. I am 23-65 with a positive 24.8, and Walters
Quite
is
the
14
fucking
out of 40.
swing there. Jesus.
Yeah, Walters is 14 out of 40 with a positive 36.95. So yeah, I've had a couple weeks where I've got the top score, like the top difference maker. So makes it a little easier. But going into this week, oh no, I forgot to pull up. Oh no, I forgot the order.
Who cares? Just pick an order right now.
Okay, so I'll go first. You can talk about quarterbacks. That is the accurate order.
Okay. So wait, to be clear, you want me to talk about the quarterbacks? Or you want you to talk about the quarterbacks?
No, you.
All right, Josh, moving into the starts and sits with the quarterback position first. You got to be real careful here, folks, because the fantasy playoffs have started. Josh, would you feel most comfortable starting Mr. Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals playing versus the division rival San Francisco 49ers? Perhaps you'd feel more comfortable starting Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars playing versus Baltimore. Or perhaps you'd be happy playing not rookie sensation, but bench starter sensation Jake Browning, quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, playing versus the Minnesota shutout defense.
Yeah, so I picked all of these because they're three tough defenses and three mid QBs right now, or at this point. Lawrence has had some flashes of greatness. And Kyler started off strong after his injury, but has kind of fizzled. And then Browning had a high last week, but going up against a stout Minnesota defense, I am going to go ahead and go with Browning, because what can Browning do for you?
Oh, dude, no shot. Browning has put up two back-to-back 23-plus point performances, but he's playing what some might be calling the best defense in the league, Josh. We just shut down the Raiders. We held the Raiders to 0 points, and then they dropped 70 on the Chargers. I mean, come on. And you want to play
I don't know if you
Browning?
know this, Scar, but if you were to watch the tape back of that Raiders-Vikings game, the Raiders were actually playing with blindfolds on. And so it actually explains a lot, because they were still able to stop Minnesota's, top-tier offense. And, they did move the ball a little bit, miss field goal here, miss field goal there. But, yeah, so I guess, it makes sense that they were playing blindfolded against Minnesota.
Okay.
They felt 2 bye weeks was just too unfair.
Well, I understand that. But all that is to say, I'm reluctant to play Jake Browning, not because the Vikings are necessarily good, or at least the Vikings as a whole, but the defense has been pretty solid. So that would give me pause in playing Jake Browning this week. Trevor Lawrence playing Baltimore. He's been pretty solid lately. 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's had 24 plus points. Last week, he did struggle a bit against Cleveland, just 17 points, but that was an away game. He'll be back home in Jacksonville for this week. And then there's Kyler Murray, who was coming off the bye. He has his worst performances coming off his injury was the week before the bye at Pittsburgh. It was pretty embarrassing. And they're coming home to play San Fran. Between these three, I can't feel comfortable starting Murray. I can't feel comfortable starting Browning. I think I have to go Trevor Lawrence. If I were in the playoffs and I would have to make this decision, I would have to go Trevor Lawrence. So that's what I would do. Walters, are you there?
I am here.
All right, Walters, who do you like, Murray, Lawrence, or Browning?
I'm going to go with Browning just because of the pieces that he has around him. I think his wide receiver core is just a lot more talented than the other teams, so we'll go with Browning.
All right, you guys
How
are going to
dare
look
you.
real silly. What's next, Josh?
Next, we've got the ones who run the ball, running backs. We've got Tony Pollard at Buffalo, DeAndre Swift at Seattle, or James Brown Cook versus Dallas.
James Brown Cook. Well, Josh, obviously Tony Pollard is running back 10 on the year. He's doing pretty good. I know he hasn't been what some people have hoped of him, but he has been in the double digits the last 4 weeks running, somewhere between 13 and 20. So not the peak of the peaks, not the greatest running back in the world, but certainly a solid, if you can get double-digit points in half-point PPR out of your running back every week, that's a must start. Playing at Buffalo should be a high-scoring affair. So I really like Pollard here, but let's let's check out the other options as well. DeAndre Swift has been pretty pedestrian the last 3 weeks. Less than 10 points in each contest. They're playing at Seattle, so you would think it could be a bit better, but you know what? Pete Carroll might just chomp this guy down to size. So I'm pretty low on DeAndre Swift. And then looking at James Cook, he has had an interesting season. He has also had a solid last 4 weeks, but his snap percentage is only in the 40s, whereas Tony Pollard is up in the 70s. He has the highest peak of these three in the last 4 weeks. He put up 22 points just last week at KC. They're playing Dallas. Should be another high-scoring affair for James Cook as well, but I'm going to go with the tried and true. I will stick with Tony Pollard and the Pollard Express. That's how I feel, Josh. How do you feel?
I agree with all of your sentiments there, and I do think that Swift, this might be his. This should be his bounce back game. The Eagles have looked atrocious. They need to get the run game going. Goddard's back, which helps with the run game. So I'm going to go with Swift just to be spicy.
Oh, okay. All right, Walters. Pollard, Swift, or Cook?
Oh, give me Cook all day.
Wow. All right. We all disagree. Good content. All right, Josh, we'll move on to the wide receiver category. And if you're starting one of these guys in the playoffs, you probably don't feel too great about yourself. But sometimes that's a position you're in. I know I have multiple of my fantasy squads are quite banged up right now. So sometimes you're desperate. Anyways, Josh, we are talking first about Justin Watson, wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. They will be playing against the New England Patriots this week. We then move on to Mr. Parker Washington, rookie wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who will be playing Baltimore, like we just talked about a second ago. And then there's Brandon Powell, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, who today will be playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. Saturday football. Josh, who do you pick here and why?
I'm going to go with Justin Watson because why not?
Oh, that is solid reasoning. Justin Watson, looking at the tail of the tape here, but in the last 2 weeks combined, he has 1 target for 1 catch with 18 yards. He has had some good performances. His best performance was week 11 at playing against Philly. He had 11 targets for 5 catches. But otherwise, he has not had more than 3 catches any game this year. Mostly he's had 2s, 1s, and 0s. So I am staying away from Justin Watson. But Josh is doing way better than I do, so what do I know? Moving to Parker Washington, he has been a rookie who's been sitting for most of the year so far. However, he has come on as of late. His last 2 weeks, he's had about a 60% snap share. 2 weeks ago, he had 6 targets. Last week, he had 3 targets for 2 receptions and 27 yards and a touchdown, though. The last 2 weeks, he has found the end zone, so that's been a nice bump to him. Moving to Brandon Powell, he has been not much of anything at all this year. He did peak a little bit once JJ started to go down, but he has not been very impressive at all year. Given these 3 constraints, Josh, and that we assume JJ will play again this week, I will go with Parker Washington of the Jacksonville Jaguars and just hope he gets in the end zone yet again. Walters, who are you feeling here?
Can you name the 3 again for me, please? I'm sorry.
It would be the Chiefs, Justin Watson, the Jaguars, Parker Washington, or the Vikings, Brandon Powell?
Parker Washington, please.
Oh, that's how I know I picked the wrong one.
Moving on to the tightest of ends, we've got Cole Kmet of Chicago at Cleveland, David Njoku versus Chicago,
whoa, easy,
and
pal.
Dalton Kincaid versus Dallas.
I don't know what that was, but it felt vaguely racist somehow. So, Josh, Cole Kmet is tight end 6 on the year. I believe we were just talking about him last week, and he maintains that title. I really wish Walters would have traded him to me in the Deflate These Balls League, but Walters is a selfish, mean doo-doo head who didn't want to make my team better, so I hate that guy. But he is unquestionably the starting tight end. He is on the field anywhere between 80 and 90% of the snaps every game. The last 2 weeks he's played, there was a bye in the middle, but he's had 7 targets and 6 targets for 7 catches and 5 catches, somewhere between 40 and 60 yards. Hasn't had a touchdown in a while, but this guy is consistently getting targeted. This guy is consistently getting catches. He certainly has a safe floor, in my opinion. And Njoku is a bit more boom and bust. 2 weeks ago against the Rams, he had 6 targets for just 2 catches and 17 yards. But last week, he had 8 targets for 6 receptions, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I believe he won Garrett a side bet because Garrett, for some reason, was playing David Njoku in his flex, and then Garrett made the playoffs in the Hidden Oaks League. So Njoku definitely had the potential to break people off. So he had a really good performance last week, but that was certainly his cap on the season. Before that game, he had not surpassed 16 fantasy points all year, so I don't know how much you want to trust it, but maybe Joe Flacco has been what David Njoku has needed this whole time. Moving on to Dalton Kincaid, he was doing hotter earlier in the season. Right as Knox went down, he kind of had his breakout. Then he has receded a bit since. Last 2 weeks, he's had 6 targets and 8 targets for 5 catches each, but he has not been very efficient. He's had 38 yards and 21 yards, so an efficiency of about 6.3, which isn't bad. But then last week, it was just an efficiency of 2.63 yards per target. So not great. If I had to pick between the 3, I think I'd be starting Cole Kmet this week, but I don't think he has the highest ceiling either. Josh, who do you like?
David Njoku.
Okay. Very simple. Good analysis. Walters, if you had to pick between Cole Kmet, David Njoku, and Dalton Kincaid, who would you pick and why?
I would probably go David Njoku as well because the Arizona defense is terrible.
Okay, but they're playing Chicago?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, still going there.
Okay, there you go. All right. Josh, we'll move on here to our final position that we go through. It is the flex position. You got a couple different options here, and I don't know that I'd be happy with any of them, but again, sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. First, we have wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, Mr. Jerry Jeudy. He will be playing at Detroit this week. Then we have running back for the Baltimore Ravens, Mr. Gus Edwards. He will be playing at Jacksonville. And then lastly, we will have tight end sensation Kyle Pitts of the Atlanta Falcons playing at Carolina. Josh, between Jeudy, Edwards, and Pitts, who do you like and why?
You can put me in the Pitts.
And why, Josh?
He's got 2 T's in his last name. He catches the football. Truthiness.
Okay. All right. I'll take Pitts as well for all the same reasons. Walters, who do you like between Jeudy, Edwards, and Pitts?
Jeudy, just to be different.
This guy thinks he fucking knows something, Josh. This guy thinks he's smarter than us. He thinks he's better than us. Do you believe that?
Hey, Jeudy was worth a first rounder in our Dynasty League.
Was he?
Yeah, that's what I traded, or that's what I got for him.
No big deal. All right, Josh. Well, with that, that's our start sits. We'll wish everyone good luck in the playoffs that started on Thursday. Oh, that was a question I had for you, Josh. We'll do a little intermission here in between this bit and the next bit. Were you a victim at all of any of the Raiders' explosion on Thursday? Are you in any of your playoff matchups? Are you playing against any of the Raiders players that have given you a little bit of a handicap going into the rest of your playoff matchup, or have you gone out unscathed so far?
Trying to remember because I think of I have three leagues where I have the bye, and I had the Chargers defense in my lineup on 2 of them. So thank you. The other ones. So and then I have I picked up the Raiders defense in our playoffs. They got me 25. And then I had Devontae Adams in Victoria's Secret, so he got me 20 as well. So I actually benefited from that matchup. Oh,
okay. So you're on the good side versus being on a disadvantage.
which
so
I'm going to need because my running back situation is atrocious in both of those leagues because Isaiah Pacheco is not playing.
Okay, well, that's good for you then, Josh. What about you, Walt? You're obviously a fantasy savant. Are you a victim or are you a hero of the Raiders' explosion on Thursday night?
I am neither.
Okay.
Because he's not in the playoffs in anything.
I am not in the playoffs in any league.
Really? I thought you were the first seed in the Victoria's Secret.
No.
No, God, no. He's first seed terrible.
Walters. Yeah. Well,
I was just on the outside looking in.
So why would anyone listen to you, Walters? You're not in the playoffs.
Hashtag team
league.
chemistry.
Well, I am the chemistry correspondent. Yes.
Well, it's debatable. That's a self-appointed title. You'd think a team with good chemistry might actually, be in the playoffs.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's why we weren't in the playoffs. Because I didn't get rid of the cancer off my roster till it was too late.
Oh.
And the cancer on your roster, how's that team doing that he went to?
He barely snuck in because the opponent that I played put up a terrible fantasy score.
Well, couldn't it also be said that the individual who benefited from
Correct.
your cancer got in because of your cancer?
A lot of things could be said, but yes, that is factual.
A lot of things could be said. He, she, we, Wombo. All right, move on to the FanDuel Bust of the Week. I believe I'm the only one who did it, so I will just say I have Devon Achane busting this week. Not that he can't be good, but last week I think he's got a bit of a situation medically. I think he should play, but Raheem Mostert certainly was taking the bulk load last week, so maybe things will be different this week. But I'm someone who at this point in the year, there's just too much information. There's too many things to worry about, so I'll just go off recency. And he did bad last week, so I'll assume he's going to do not great this week. It's a very simple approach, and it lets me down sometimes. But
and I've got Stephon Diggs going against Dallas's defense. He's worth 80. He's 8,500. He's had quite a few down weeks. So Stephon Diggs.
Did he have a down week last week? Because he was my bust last week, or did he do good last week?
4 points last week.
Oh, buddy, bro, I know a bust.
Mine was Justin Jefferson, and he died.
He did go to the hospital, but he has since recovered, as I understand it. So you just relax, buddy. That's a human player, Josh. How fucking dare you? Hashtag Josh has no morals. All right, we will move on here.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Walters.
For those who are interested, the podcast play along challenge, that's only Sunday games today or tomorrow, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to put that out there for the folks.
Yep, only Sunday noon and 3:00 games. We'll move on finally, Josh, and Walters, I guess, to a little bit of a weekly preview. As Walters has alluded to, and I think I've said it as well, coming into today, we have Saturday football. Saturday football season is finally here. We have 3 games today, so we could treat it just like a Sunday. You could be sitting down, getting fat, watching TV 2 days in a row this week, wall-to-wall football, which I think is pretty sweet. Today, for reference, we have Minnesota playing against Cincinnati in our first game at noon. Then at 3:30 we've got Pittsburgh, Indy, and then at 7:15 we have Denver and Detroit. I don't know if those are necessarily sexy games for anyone, but football is better than no football for most people, so it is what it is. Of course, there's also the Monday and the Sunday slate. Josh, is there any particular game you're looking forward to coming up here? Is it maybe big for fantasy playoff implications for yourself?
I just like football.
Will you be able to enjoy the Saturday football today? You're going to be sitting around just watching it, or are you gonna have to still have a productive adult type Saturday?
I just like we should be able to watch the games. I think we're gonna, since we changed the time of the podcast a couple times, I think that we should be able to get the groceries done and get back in time to do that, and then bonk Asher on the head so he goes to sleep for a couple hours.
What a loving dad. And I will apologize. It was I was supposed to be spending the night at Bread's last night and I wasn't, so I texted you last night when I found out I wasn't. So that's what happens.
Right. At Bread's?
What about you, Walters? Are you excited?
Did you say Bread's?
Yeah, he said Brad. Brad was having a giant sleepover.
Yeah, there's going to be a big pillow fight. We're going to paint our nails, talk about boys.
I'm just curious because that, wow, that's a commute.
Yeah, and no, Josh, I was supposed to sleep over at Bread's last night. Bread.
Oh,
that's why I was moving.
I'm
it
sorry.
back. No, it's again, it's only my fault. I can only blame myself. But anyways, Walters, moving on to you. Are you going to be enjoying Saturday football, or do you completely don't care because you're not into any fantasy playoffs, or will you enjoy football without the stress of fantasy? Maybe.
Yeah, I will be watching the Vikings game today. It'll be interesting to see how fast the haters will come out for Nick Mullins and everybody who's just salivating over the rookie sensation, Jaren Hall. I want to know how quickly people will be clamoring for him to take the field. So we'll see. I do think, though, that as of right now, my truthiness scale tells me that Mullins gives us the best chance to make it into the playoffs. So, but that's just me.
I feel that. I mean, I understand it's a totally normal thing for a fan base to do when your team is struggling to demand different things and different players and whatever else. But at the same time, have we not learned anything from the recent history of Mike Zimmer and Kellen Mond? Mike Zimmer's quote: "We see Kellen Mond every day." Do we have so little faith in the coaches that we can't just trust them to start who they think is best? All the fans are, I think we were just, Josh, you and I were going back and forth with Aaron in the Champs League. And he was like, we need to see Jaren Hall. We got to see him. And I'm like, bro, the coaches see him every day. Can we not have a little bit of faith that maybe Jaren Hall has some potential, but also the coaches would be the best position to answer that and play accordingly? But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think obviously the fans have a right to complain, but at the same time, they can be pretty irrational? Should we not trust the coaches more, or should we just sit there and scream that we want to see different quarterbacks every week until we win the Super Bowl?
For me, I'm with you. I think I even said that. Basically, what Zimmer said. Basically, when we were talking about, or when I believe a guy named Christian Ponder and Joe Webb were both quarterbacks on our team.
Joe Webb was the right choice in that scenario.
Well, I mean, I just have to go back to the Packer playoff game where we blew our lead in the second half because Joe Webb was not a good quarterback. But
Did
still,
you have a lead in that game?
I thought we had a lead going into halftime.
Fucking talk bad about Joe Webb, or I will cut you.
Anyways, but yes, I'm the point I'm making is, I think in this sense, we should trust the coach's judgment when it comes to our starting quarterback because they see them every day. The only little hiccup is that those backups, they're rarely ever getting snaps with the ones. They're always playing with the twos and stuff like that. So if they had a chance to get the same amount of reps as all the ones in practice with the number one team, I'd be curious to see what comes of it. But I just don't think they get that opportunity because why? Why would you do that? Why would you take reps away from your starter so you can have your backup play with your starters? So that's what it is.
So just to correct Walter's misinformation,
Fake news.
The Vikings were losing 3-17 going into the half, and they lost the game 24-10 due to the offensive surge of none other than DeJuan Harris having a 9-yard run in that first quarter, and then 2 touchdowns, count them 2, one receiving and 1 rushing by John Kuhn.
The fullback of the past, present, and future.
What was the score again going into halftime?
17-3, Green Bay.
Okay. All right. Well, I
put it in your notes.
Got it.
Tattoo it on your forehead so you never forget.
I got it. Yeah, I'll never make that mistake again. I'm sorry.
Oh, shit. Well, I appreciate you guys' thoughts on that. That was just a minor tangent, but we had time for it today because we had gone through the podcast at a nice pace. For me, I think looking at least for fantasy implications and I guess somewhat self-entertainment preferences. I think the New York Jet Miami Dolphin game is going to have the biggest playoff implications for me because I have a lot of players on in such games. So we will see. We will see how things shake out. But Miami versus the Jets will be a big one for me. Anyways, folks, that can be our show. We appreciate Walters again for showing up. We appreciate Josh for being so flexible. I tried to make the podcast later at noon, and then I didn't tell Walters about that, and then luckily we switched it back at the last second. So Walters never knew that we were going to do the podcast later today, but we didn't do the podcast later today. So, you know, it is what it is. But we appreciate the flexibility from Josh. We appreciate Walters showing up, even with the case of the suds, hungover, drunk on cupcakes, and sugar high all at the same time. How does he do it? How does he take a downer and an upper and still be the guy he is? No one knows. But Walters, we appreciate you as well. Just like we appreciate all the listeners who, the show is enhanced through. Walters, I'll give you the shot first because we know what Josh is going to say. Walters, is there anything you would like to say to the fans out there? Anything you'd like to preach or to plug? I'll give you 30 seconds. Go.
Well, I just was wondering when you guys were going to tell me it was changed to noon. Otherwise, I'd have been sitting here for the whole half hour at 8 o'clock waiting.
Nah, you just sat here till noon. You know it. You had nothing else on.
I would have told you eventually.
Game. At 8:15. Hey, we're not broadcasting until
By
noon.
the way, you look fucking stupid right now.
Yeah. Nope.
Like a meme of that one guy just sitting around, just waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
Empty pool.
Yeah. I think that's from Narcos, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right.
Anyways, Skull.
All right, Josh, anything you'd like to play or plug or pitch other than your Go Packers?
I feel like, he just kind of took what I usually say, but turned it into something for his team instead of actually coming up with something on his own and being unique. He just Go Packers.
Oh wow, he sounded so sad when he said that.
Super deflated, not even in the chat anymore.
Yeah, he left out of frustration. Oh, but he's back.
I got
Oh god.
That was some good rant and raving at the end there. I like that.
Oh, we are here for the people, Walters. We're here to
I'm going to say, as the chemistry correspondent, we have great chemistry.
Yeah, we have great team chemistry on that there.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the fans are having fun. The fans are smiling ear to ear right now.
Ear to ear. And is that fans plural or is that just you, fan singular? Like, do you think this will make Al smile?
He might have a chuckle.
Do you think it'll make Nikita smile?
Probably.
All right, well, you are the chemistry correspondent. Notice how you're not the senior chemistry correspondent. You're just the chemistry correspondent. Who's your boss?
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Dude, you would be fucking terrible at improv. I hate you. I hate everything about you. I'm young.